You felt it, didn't you? That tremor, not in the earth, but in the fabric of your reality. A sudden, inexplicable wave of anxiety that came from nowhere. A vertigo of the soul that left you grasping for a solid thought in a world that suddenly felt like a poorly rendered dream. A moment of profound disconnection, even when you were surrounded by people, as if you were a ghost watching a life that no longer fit. The thought, clear as a bell and chilling in its certainty, this is not my life. Let me be unequivocal with you now. That was not a random thought. It was not a bad day. It was not your anxiety disorder acting up. That was a quantum echo, a shockwave from a future that is actively collapsing, a ripple sent backward through time from a version of you who is fighting for your attention. And if you are hearing my voice right now, it is not by chance or algorithmic suggestion. It is because the highest, most integrated aspect of your consciousness, the you that exists beyond the constraints of linear time, has just breached every protocol to send a priority 1 distress signal directly to your awareness. This is not a spiritual teaching. This is a tactical briefing. For months, maybe years, you've been playing by the old spiritual rulebook. You were told to raise your vibration, to stay positive, to manifest your desires. And for a while, it worked. You felt glimpses of something higher, moments of connection, sparks of magic. But then it stopped working. The world outside began to feel like it was vibrating itself apart at the seams, and the world inside your own skin became a battleground of conflicting impulses, a deep, soul-level knowing that you are infinite, clashing violently against the daily frustration of a life that feels limited, exhausting, and strangely hollow. You thought you were falling behind. You interpreted the mounting chaos as a personal failure, proof that you weren't meditating enough, weren't grateful enough, weren't spiritually evolved enough to hold the light. What if I told you, with every fiber of my being, that you were not failing? You were sensing. Your nervous system, your very DNA, is a quantum biological instrument infinitely more sophisticated than any machine ever built. And it is registering a fundamental, irreversible shift in the energetic architecture of this planet. The old timeline, the entire paradigm built on struggle, on separation, on the exhausting hamster wheel of never being quite enough, is reaching its thermodynamic endpoint. The chaos you see on the global stage, the confusion you feel in your own relationships and career, the sense that the old dreams have lost their flavor. This is not random. It is the audible sound of that obsolete structure breaking apart. This is the event the ancient prophecies and modern channelers alike have pointed toward, not as a fiery extinction, but as a great sorting, a bifurcation of consciousness itself. And you, right now, in this exact moment, are being presented with a choice you scripted for yourself long before you took this body. A choice your future self is now screaming at you to remember. Let me be brutally, surgically clear about the nature of this choice, because your entire spiritual trajectory depends on you understanding this, not as a comforting metaphor, but as the underlying physics of your experience. There are two coherent reality fields now consolidating, and you are currently straddling the boundary between them. The first is the path of the echo. This is the path of unconscious momentum. It is the timeline where you feel the tremor, feel the fear, and then consciously or unconsciously decide to dismiss it. You rationalize it away. You scroll to the next video. You go back to trying to fix your old life using the old broken tools of effort, striving, and spiritual consumerism. On this timeline, life appears to continue. You might even achieve some of your old goals, but the world will feel increasingly like a gilded cage, beautiful on the surface, but hollow and meaningless at its core. Synchronicities will feel like rare, fluky accidents. Relationships will be transactional. A deep, unshakable loneliness will persist beneath the noise of your daily activity. This is the timeline of spiritual sleepwalking, where you have all the information but none of the ignition, and the primary sensation is one of profound existential fatigue, of running in a dream with all your might and getting precisely nowhere. The second path is the path of the anchor. This is the timeline of deliberate, conscious, and sovereign choice. It is the reality where you feel that tremor, that disconnection, and instead of fearing it, you recognize it for what it is, the final warning siren from your own bridge. This is the path where you heed the call. It doesn't feel like building something new from scratch. It feels like a homecoming to a self you have always known on a soul level, but could never quite fully touch or inhabit. On this timeline, synchronicity ceases to be an occasional event and becomes the very grammar of your existence. The universe stops sending you signs and starts holding a continuous, intimate conversation with you. The people, opportunities, and the deep, abiding peace you've been begging the universe for don't need to be attracted, because you have simply, finally, vibrated into the reality where they were waiting for you all along. They were never not there. You were just tuned to the wrong station. Your present feeling of fatigue, of being lost, of your old ambitions turning to dust in your hands, that is not a sign of your failure. It is the most loving, intelligent, and urgent signal your soul can possibly send. It is the final, non-negotiable warning that you are critically out of phase with Timeline B. You are a fish trying to breathe air, and your soul is screaming at you to find the water. Right now, in this suspended moment, you have one foot in each of these worlds. You can feel the pull of both, and the friction between them is what is tearing you apart. It creates the brain fog, the procrastination, the inability to make simple decisions, the feeling that you are your own worst enemy. This internal civil war ends today. The warning phase is now complete. You have successfully received the signal. Now, you are being deployed the tools. What I will share with you in the next segment is not another meditation. It is not a guided visualization to help you escape. This is a direct, non-negotiable protocol for quantum triage. It is a three-part sequence born from the intersection of ancient mystical knowledge and cutting-edge neurophysics, designed to accomplish one singular critical objective: to stabilize your core energy signature so rapidly and so decisively that the gravitational pull of Timeline B becomes an irresistible force, naturally drawing you across the threshold. You will be given the exact frequencies and actions to seal your personal energy field from the chaotic static of the collapsing world, to systematically purge the accumulated data and emotional baggage of your old story, and to perform a simple yet profound somatic technique that will physically snap your consciousness into the coherent frequency of your future self, effectively closing the gap between who you are and who you are becoming. This is how you actively cross over, not by waiting for a sign, not by hoping for a miracle, but by executing a precise energetic command sequence that overrides the old programming. Do not watch what comes next as a passive spectator. Your future is not a theory to be contemplated. It is a reality to be seized. The mission is live. The protocol begins in the next segment. Your future self is waiting. The waiting is over. The time for diagnosis has passed. You have felt the divide. You have heard the distress signal from your future. And now you stand at the precipice of a choice that will define your existence. This moment, right here, right now, is the point of quantum divergence. Everything that comes next is a direct transmission of the protocol, the exact operational sequence your future self has risked everything to send back to you. This is not a theory to be debated. It is a technology to be applied. I need you to shift your posture as you listen. Do not lean back and absorb. Lean forward and engage. This is an interactive download, and your conscious participation is the key that turns the ignition. We are going to begin with the first of 3 core commands. This first one is non-negotiable. It is the foundation upon which everything else is built. We call it the anchoring breath, and its purpose is to perform an immediate, hostile takeover of your autonomic nervous system, wresting control from the chaos of the external world and placing it back into your sovereign hands. Your breath is the one physiological function that operates both automatically and voluntarily. It is the bridge between your conscious intention and your unconscious biological state. Most people breathe from a place of survival, shallow sips of air that keep the body in a low-grade state of alarm. The anchoring breath rewrites this default setting in real time. Here is what I need you to do. Wherever you are, pause this transmission for a moment if you must. Sit upright. Place your feet flat on the floor. Feel the weight of your body in your seat, the solidity of the ground beneath you. Now, I want you to inhale through your nose, slowly and deeply, for a count of 4. But here is the critical part. As you inhale, you are not just pulling in air. You are drawing in a specific, conscious intention. The intention is, I am recalling my energy. Visualize it as reclaiming every scattered fragment of your attention, your power, your life force that has been lost to worry, to scrolling, to people-pleasing, to past regrets and future anxieties. Pull it all back into the central core of your being. Hold that breath at the top for a count of 4. In this suspended silence, you are consolidating that power. You are stating, without words, I am whole within myself. Then exhale through your mouth for a count of 6, releasing all that is not you. The borrowed fears, the inherited limitations, the vibrational residue of timeline A. The extended exhale is what triggers the vagus nerve, flipping the switch in your body from a state of fight or flight to a state of rest and digest, of safety and coherence. This is not a relaxation technique. This is a bioenergetic command. You are programming your body's baseline frequency. Practice this now. Just 1 cycle. Inhale for 4, recalling your energy. Hold for 4, consolidating your sovereignty. Exhale for 6, releasing all foreign interference. Feel that? That sudden, palpable shift in the air around you? That is your energy field snapping into a more coherent formation. That is the first seal being placed. Now we move to the second command, which must be performed immediately after you have established this anchored state. We call this the Data Purge. You have just recalled your energy. Now we must clean the vessel it resides in. Your mind, your physical space, and your digital world are all filled with the data packets of the old timeline. Every unresolved argument, every notification from a fear-based news cycle, every clutter-filled corner of your home, every song on a playlist that reminds you of a version of you that you've outgrown. These are not neutral. They are active programs running in the background of your consciousness, reinforcing the vibration of the past and creating drag against your ascent. Your future self cannot fully land in a space that is still cluttered with the artifacts of a reality you are leaving behind. This is a physical law. So, your second command is an act of deliberate, symbolic, and powerful deletion. I'm not asking you to quit your job or sell all your possessions. I am instructing you to perform a targeted, ritualistic purge. Today, before you sleep, you will do 3 things. First, you will open the Notes app on your phone or take a piece of paper, and you will write down 3 core beliefs that have defined your old story. Perhaps it's, I have to struggle to be worthy, or I am not safe, or I am alone. Write them down. Look at them. Acknowledge that these were operating systems that got you this far, but they are incompatible with the new reality you are entering. Then, I want you to safely burn that paper. Tear it up and flush it. Delete the note. Perform a physical act that symbolizes the irreversible deletion of that code from your mainframe. Second, you will go into your phone and unsubscribe, unfollow, or mute at least 5 accounts, newsletters, or apps that feed you a frequency of lack, drama, fear, or mindless consumption. You are not being rude. You are being a conscious curator of your vibrational diet. Third, you will choose one small, visible area of your personal space, your wallet, your car's glove compartment, the shelf by your front door, and you will clear it out, wipe it down, and leave it clean and empty. This creates a vacuum, a literal space for the new energy to enter. These are not chores. These are sacred acts of exorcism against the old timeline. You are not just cleaning, you are sending a definitive message to the quantum field. I have vacated the premises of my past. I am ready for new occupancy. This data purge collapses the old loops and creates a silent, clean slate within your energy, a silence into which your future self can finally speak without static. And this brings us to the third and most potent command, the future self handshake. This is where we actively collapse the timeline. You have anchored your body. You have purged your space. Now we will embody your destination. This is a somatic visualization, but it must be felt, not just thought. I want you to close your eyes. Bring to mind the version of you that exists on the other side of this shift. Don't struggle to invent details. Feel for the qualities. Feel the unshakable peace they carry. Feel the effortless confidence, the lightness in their step, the way they breathe easily because they know, on a cellular level, that they are always supported. Feel the quiet joy that radiates from them, not because their life is perfect, but because they are in perfect alignment with their soul. Got the feeling? Now, here is the command. Imagine this future version of you is standing directly in front of you. They are smiling at you with immense compassion and pride. See them reach out their hand. And now, you reach out yours. The moment your hands connect, a circuit is completed. A surge of their frequency, that peace, that confidence, that joy flows directly from their hand into yours, traveling up your arm and flooding your entire body. It is a download of their state of being. Hold this connection for 3 full breaths. Let your body memorize this vibration. This is not a fantasy. This is a quantum entanglement exercise. You are not reaching forward to a distant future. You are inviting that future's frequency to fully inhabit your present moment. You are performing a handshake across time, and in that moment, the separation between you and them dissolves. You are, for those 3 breaths, already there. When you open your eyes, do not shake it off. Carry that feeling with you. This is the final piece of the sequence. This is how you cross over. You have just been given the 3 keys: the anchoring breath to control your state, the data purge to clear your field, and the future self handshake to embody your destination. Execute this sequence with intention, and you will have done in 10 minutes what years of seeking have failed to accomplish. You will have actively chosen your timeline. In the next and final segment, we will explore what to do once you've crossed, how to navigate this new reality, recognize its signs, and handle the echoes of the old world as they fade. The bridge is now under your feet. Walk. The shift has been initiated. You have felt the anchoring breath recalibrate your internal weather system. You have performed the data purge, feeling the lightness that comes from releasing the dead weight of a story that was never truly yours. And in the silent, potent space you created, you have completed the future self handshake, a moment of quantum magic where you quite literally reached out and pulled your destiny into your present moment. That trembling, electric certainty you feel humming in your chest, that is the confirmation. That is the signal from your soul that the crossing is underway. The bridge you have built is not behind you. It is beneath your feet with every step you take from this point forward. But understand this clearly. Crossing the threshold is one thing. Learning to live in the new territory is another. The landscape of Timeline B operates on a different set of rules, a new physics of being that will feel both magically familiar and disorientingly new. Your first and most critical task is to recognize the signs that you are, in fact, here. In the old timeline, synchronicities were occasional, startling events that you would post about online. In this new reality, they become the mundane, everyday grammar of your life. You will think of a friend you haven't spoken to in years, and they will message you moments later. You will have a random, specific question, and the next video in your feed, or the next page of a book you open, will contain the exact answer. The universe is no longer sending you signs. It is holding a continuous, intimate, and responsive conversation with you. Do not dismiss these moments as mere coincidences. Acknowledge them. Give a silent nod of thanks. Each one is a confirmation beacon from the field, a little green light saying, "Yes, you are on the right frequency. Proceed." Your relationship with time will fundamentally alter. The frantic, desperate urgency of the old world, the pressure to have it all figured out by a certain age, to hit arbitrary milestones, to constantly be doing, will begin to feel like a distant, nonsensical dream. You will enter a state of what can only be described as graceful timing. Things will happen not when you force them, but when the orchestration is perfect. A delay will reveal itself as divine protection. A sudden, unexpected opening will appear with an elegance that feels choreographed by a benevolent intelligence. This is because you are no longer fighting the current of your life. You have become the current itself. Your sense of identity will also undergo a profound softening. The rigid, defended ego structure you built to survive the old world will begin to feel like an ill-fitting suit of armor. You will find yourself less invested in being right, in defending your personal story, in proving your worth. The opinions of others will land on you with the weight of a feather, because your internal validation system, your connection to your future self, and the intelligence of the field will become your primary source of truth. This is not apathy. It is sovereignty. It is the ultimate freedom that comes from knowing who you are at a soul level, a knowing that cannot be shaken by external noise. However, Do not be alarmed when the echoes of Timeline A come knocking. This is a natural part of the process, and most people misinterpret it as failure. You will have days where the old anxiety surfaces. You will receive a piece of news that triggers a familiar fear. An old toxic pattern will whisper from the shadows, trying to lure you back into its familiar drama. This is not a sign that you have failed or that the protocol has stopped working. This is the old reality's gravitational pull, and it is strongest precisely because you have escaped its event horizon. Think of it as the ghost of a burned-down house. The structure is gone, but for a while, you can still feel its shape in the cold air. When these echoes arise, your response is not to fight them, not to panic, and certainly not to believe them. Your response is to observe them with detached curiosity, as a scientist would observe a residual data anomaly. Ah, you will say to yourself, there is an echo of the old frequency of unworthiness. How interesting. And then, you will deploy your tools. You will take an anchoring breath, recalling your energy from the ghost of the past. You will reaffirm your sovereignty. You will not give the echo your attention, for attention is energy, and energy is food. Starve the echo, and it will fade. Its reappearance is not a test of your worthiness. It is a test of your consistency in applying the protocol you have now mastered. Your mission now evolves from one of personal salvation to one of planetary service. As you stabilize in this new frequency, you will become a walking, breathing tuning fork for coherence. Your mere presence in a room will begin to calm chaotic energies. People who are still deeply entangled in Timeline A may feel uncomfortable around you, not because you are doing anything wrong, but because your stable light highlights their own instability. Others, who are on the cusp of their own awakening, will be magnetically drawn to you. They will not know why, but they will feel calmer, safer, and more hopeful in your energy field. You do not need to preach or convert. Your only task is to maintain your own alignment. Your coherence is a silent permission slip for others to remember their own. This is how the new world is built, not through loud revolutions, but through a quiet, viral spread of stable sovereign consciousness. You are a node of light in the emerging network, and by holding your frequency, you are actively weaving the new fabric of reality for all. The final step in your mastery is to embrace this role with humility and fierce dedication. You are no longer a seeker. You are a sovereign being, a conscious co-creator, and the living proof that a new way of being is not only possible, it is already here, breathing through you. The journey does not end. It transforms. You have the map. You have the tools. The territory is yours to explore. Go and light up the world simply by being in it.